Leo soul, something powerful is approaching your life and it's not a coincidence you're here. Two women are about to cross your path, and each of them will leave a mark that changes everything. One will awaken your heart. The other will challenge your truth. But both of them? They will awaken your truest self. This is your turning point, and deep down you've felt it coming, haven't you? Let me ask you something. Have you ever had a sense that someone was sent into your life not to stay forever, but to shake you out of your sleep? To make you feel something again? That moment is now. The people you're about to meet aren't random. They are soul messengers. They show up when you're ready even if you don't feel ready yet. So, take a breath. Set everything else down. Because this is not just another zodiac reading. This is a sacred message, a reminder from the universe that your spirit has been preparing for this. What's about to unfold isn't a prediction, it's a mirror. And through it, you will see where you've been hiding your voice, your light, your courage. Today, I want to talk to you about two very different kinds of women. One arrives like warmth after a long storm. She's the kind of presence that doesn't need to explain herself, you just feel safer when she walks in the room. She brings clarity, not chaos. She doesn't try to fix you, but somehow, in her presence, things begin to heal. She may show up as a friend, a mentor, even a stranger who says something that echoes in your mind for days. But make no mistake, she is light. And her role is to help you remember the parts of yourself you buried just to survive. The second woman? She's not here to be gentle. She will test your boundaries, your worth, and your voice. She may appear supportive at first, even enticing, offering opportunities, praise, or promises that seem aligned with what you want. But there's a layer underneath. She reflects the part of you that still doubts yourself, that still compromises for acceptance. She brings the lesson, the edge. And she's just as necessary as the light. This moment isn't about fear. It's about choosing to see clearly. The stars are aligning, Venus is harmonizing with Uranus, and the moon is lighting up your 9th house. That's not just cosmic poetry. It means spiritual awakenings through real-world interactions. Travel. Invitations. Unexpected conversations. One of them will hold more weight than you think. You won't recognize it right away, but your soul will. And if you're wondering why now, why this message found you, pause and ask yourself, what have I recently gone through that cracked me open just enough to listen differently? This is what happens when the universe speaks through people. You asked for transformation. This is how it arrives. Now, before we dive into the heart of the reading, let me take a moment to say something I don't say lightly. Thank you. For being here. For showing up, not just for this video but for yourself. Every like, every comment, every time you subscribe or share a message from this channel, you're not just helping eternal mindfulness grow. You're anchoring this energy into your own path. And believe me, the fact that you're still listening, that means something is shifting in you already. So tell me in the comments, have you felt one of these women entering your life lately? Do you sense the shift I'm talking about? Write it down. That act alone can change how fast this energy anchors into your life. Stick with me through this reading. What we're about to uncover isn't just insight, it's activation. And something tells me you're more than ready. You know, When people talk about life-changing moments, they often expect something dramatic: an accident, a job offer, a public announcement. But from what I've seen, and maybe you felt this too, some of the most powerful shifts begin quietly. They start with someone walking into your life so softly that you barely notice at first. And then something inside you stirs. That's the kind of energy we're talking about here. This woman. She doesn't enter with fireworks or a grand performance. She enters like the early morning sun, gentle, warm, steady. Her presence brings clarity, not confusion. When she speaks, she doesn't give advice in a way that makes you feel small. Instead, she helps you remember truths you already knew, but forgot how to access. She's the illuminator, and you may not even realize how much you needed her until later, when her words echo back during your quiet moments. The tarot reflects this deeply. The high priestess shows up when something sacred is ready to be revealed, but only to the one willing to listen. She represents inner knowing, a quiet kind of wisdom. And paired with the sun, it's as if life is saying, yes, you've been through darkness. But you made it. And now, it's time to feel the warmth again. This woman is that warmth. She doesn't fix your problems, but somehow, you start to feel lighter just being around her. There's also the Three of Cups, a card of connection, joy, shared emotion. So pay attention, you may not even meet her one-on-one. She might show up during a group gathering, a casual event, a shared experience that opens the door to deeper connection. And when she does, you'll know. Not because she says something profound, but because you'll feel safe being honest in a way you haven't been in a long time. Think about that for a second. When was the last time you spoke your truth without filtering it? Without softening your feelings to protect someone else? Or hiding your needs so you wouldn't be a burden? This woman will pull those words out of you, not with force, but with presence. She brings healing not because she heals you, but because she reminds you that you're allowed to heal yourself. And I want to pause here and say, if you've been holding something in, something you've wanted to say but haven't had the courage to speak, this is your sign. Write it down. Say it out loud when no one's listening. Text it to yourself if that's all you can do. Because healing often starts the moment truth is acknowledged, even in private. In the world we live in, it's so easy to get used to silence. To numb yourself for the sake of survival. I've seen this over and over again, people convincing themselves that they're fine, that they don't need to be heard, that their feelings are too much. But the truth is, you were never meant to carry that silence alone. That's why this woman is showing up now. She's not the solution. She's the reminder. That you're still alive inside. That your voice still matters. That you don't need to shrink anymore. This kind of connection is rare, but it's real. So think back. Have you crossed paths recently with someone who made you feel unexpectedly seen? Someone who didn't demand you to explain yourself, but just got you? If so, don't ignore that. Energy like that doesn't come by accident. It's a message. Maybe she's already here. If someone comes to mind, write their name in the comments below. Not for them, but for you. Because naming a soul connection gives it space to grow. It tells the universe, I noticed. I'm listening. I'm ready. And if no one has shown up yet, that's okay too. Sometimes, the invitation shows up before the person. Stay open. Stay curious. And remember, this woman doesn't arrive when you've figured everything out. She arrives the moment you're ready to begin. She doesn't walk into your life like a villain. In fact, when she first shows up, it may feel like exactly what you've been waiting for. A new opportunity, an exciting project, a connection that seems to light up the path you thought had gone dim. This woman, the mirror, doesn't arrive to harm you. She arrives to reveal you. And that's where the real work begins. In astrology and tarot, there are archetypes that don't play by the rules of comfort. The Devil card, for example, isn't about evil, it's about attachment, seduction, and temptation. It's about those parts of you that get drawn to what looks shiny on the outside but hides deeper truths beneath. When paired with the Seven of Swords, we're not just talking about outside deception. We're talking about self-deception. About the part of you that quietly negotiates your worth for acceptance. The part of you that says, I'll just ignore that red flag because I don't want to lose this opportunity. But opportunities that ask you to betray yourself aren't opportunities at all. They're spiritual tests. And the Fool reversed reminds us, when you leap without checking in with your intuition, you risk not just falling but forgetting who you are on the way down. This woman may be charismatic. She may speak your language, echo your goals, and make you feel seen. But if you listen closely, something might feel off. You might catch yourself hesitating before replying. Or notice that after spending time with her, you feel strangely drained or self-conscious. This isn't about paranoia. It's about discernment. It's about learning to trust that subtle knowing in your gut, that quiet voice that says, something isn't adding up. What makes her role so important is that she shows you where your boundaries are still soft. Where your people-pleasing tendencies still lead the conversation. Where your fear of being misunderstood still makes you say, yes, when your body is screaming, no. Her presence is not a punishment. It's an invitation to clarify, to align, and to speak with the voice you once silenced for safety. I've seen this pattern so many times in people on the edge of growth. They meet someone who triggers every insecurity they've hidden for years. At first, they think, why is this happening to me? But soon they realize it's not happening to them, it's happening for them. Because until you face the parts of yourself that still need approval, you'll keep attracting the ones who offer it with strings attached. So what can you do when you feel this energy coming into your life? Start by slowing down. Take 3 minutes to sit with your breath. Place one hand on your heart and one on your stomach, and ask yourself, do I feel expanded or contracted around this person? Your body knows before your mind catches up. Pay attention to subtle questions. They respect your time, your pace, your hesitations. Or do they push, flatter, and overpromise? Manipulative energy doesn't always look toxic on the surface. Sometimes it looks charming, polished, even spiritual. That's why the mirror is such a sacred archetype. She teaches you to stop choosing based on surface alignment, and to start honoring energetic integrity. If someone's been coming into your life lately with big promises, or asking for quick decisions, check in with yourself. Have you felt a twinge of discomfort that you brushed aside? Have you agreed to something out of guilt, fear, or the desire to keep things smooth? If so, this is your sign to pause. You're not being tested because you're failing, you're being tested because you're ready to pass. And if this message resonates, don't keep it in your head. Write it down in the comments. Say it out loud. Give voice to the intuitive whispers you've been taught to ignore. This is how you reclaim your power, not by avoiding people like the mirror, but by meeting them with clarity, boundaries, and the strength to walk away if something feels wrong. You don't have to call anyone out. You just have to call yourself back. And when you do, the entire pattern shifts. Sometimes life doesn't announce transformation with thunder. It begins with something subtly feeling, a number that keeps repeating, a sudden pull towards someone, or something that seems insignificant at first. But if you're paying attention, these are the moments that lead you to the exact doorway your soul has been waiting to walk through. And this week, astrologically speaking, Leo, that doorway is opening. Quietly, but powerfully. With Venus trining Uranus, your heart is more open than usual, and not just open, but unexpectedly available to new kinds of people and connections. You may find yourself letting someone in faster than you thought you would, or feeling moved by someone's words in a way that surprises you. That's not you being careless. That's the universe gently nudging your defenses down because it knows something or someone important is trying to reach you. It might be a conversation during a coffee run. It might be a smile from someone at an event you almost didn't attend. These are not accidents. When Venus meets Uranus, love and connection don't follow your old rules. They arrive unannounced, and they change everything. At the same time, the moon moves into your 9th house, the area of higher truth, vision, expansion, and deep learning. It's not just about what you're learning, though. It's about how something you encounter this week opens up your inner world. That's why this is such a potent time for spiritual growth. You may be drawn to a workshop, a book, a retreat, or even just a YouTube video you weren't planning to watch, and inside it, you'll find a message that hits you like a soft whisper to your soul. This is meant for you. And while astrology opens the map, numerology hands you the coordinates. Have you been noticing the same repeating numbers lately? 11, 22, 777? These aren't random. Each of them holds a vibrational pattern. 11 is the master number of intuition and alignment. It tells you you're standing on the edge of something new and your only job is to stay awake. 22 is the number of the builder. It calls you to start laying the foundation for what your higher self has been imagining behind the scenes. And 777? That's divine reassurance. It's the universe's way of saying, yes. Keep going. You're being guided. If these numbers have been following you, it's a good time to pause and realign. Write this affirmation somewhere you can see it. I am ready for the guidance of the one the universe is sending to me. You don't need to know who they are yet. You just need to say yes. Colors carry codes too. If you're being drawn towards soft lavender, luminous gold, or that pearlescent white that looks like moonlight in motion, it's not just an aesthetic. These colors are tuning forks for energy. Lavender connects you to clarity and calm. Gold invites prosperity and courage. And pearl white? That's the bridge between the earthly and the intuitive. Wear them. Surround yourself with them. Let them guide you, even silently, as you move through this new chapter. And if you're wondering what to do with all this awareness, here's a gentle practice. Take a moment today, not tomorrow, and write down 3 words that describe the version of yourself you know is waiting to come forward. Not the perfect version. The aligned one. The real one. Maybe your 3 words are bold, clear, loved, or peaceful, seen, powerful. Let them be your compass. Because whoever is arriving, whether it's the illuminator or someone entirely new, not here to complete you. They're here to reflect the version of you that's been asking for a way out. So stay open, Leo. Your chart is speaking in symbols, in synchronicities, in soft shifts. And sometimes, the most beautiful revelations come wrapped not in certainty, but in a quiet invitation to look again. To say yes. To walk through the doorway that's always been waiting for you. There's a moment quiet, almost invisible, when your energy recognizes someone before your mind can explain why. It feels like a soft awakening, like something inside you finally exhales after holding its breath for too long. That's what happens when the right person meets you at the right frequency. And when it does, it's not really about the person. It's about the part of yourself that comes alive in their presence. By now, you've heard about the two women, the illuminator, who stirs your heart gently, and the mirror, who challenges your soul. But here's where it gets real. Their presence is not just about external relationships. It's about calling forth two different truths inside you. One is the truth that knows you are already worthy, already whole. The other is the truth that sees where you still play small, where you still shrink to fit, where you still let fear make the decisions. These women are catalysts. One brings light. One brings friction. But together, they are alchemy. They press into you in different ways, and in doing so, they wake you up to the most important encounter of all, the one with yourself. So let me ask you, honestly, have you truly met yourself yet? The version of you that doesn't wait for permission? The one that doesn't shrink her dreams or edit her voice for the comfort of others? Because that's who's waiting at the end of this journey. Not a new partner. Not a mentor. Not even clarity. What's waiting is you, reintroduced through these divine disruptions. It's not an easy meeting. Growth rarely is. But it's deeply human. It's like tuning a forgotten instrument. The illuminator touches the strings of compassion, creativity, softness. The mirror sharpens your tone, demanding that you speak clearly and hold your shape. And slowly, something incredible happens. You begin to resonate. You start to remember your rhythm, your note, your place in the music of your own life. But you can't play that note if you're still playing someone else's song. That's why boundaries matter. That's why self-respect isn't just a concept, it's an energetic filter. When you honor your own frequency, you attract those who can hear it. And those who can't. They naturally fall away, not because you push them, but because they no longer match the music. So how do you get there? You start with small, sacred acts of return. Sit in silence, not to empty your mind, but to listen to your own inner voice. Place one hand on your belly, the other on your heart. Breathe into the space between them and feel what it's like to simply exist without performing. That's you. That's the version of yourself who doesn't need to earn rest, worthiness, or love. Write a letter to that part of you, the brave one, the bold one, the one who showed up for your younger self when no one else did. You don't need to send it. But write it anyway. Let the words remind you of who you were before the world taught you to filter your light. If you feel called, wear or hold a stone like moonstone or lapis lazuli. These aren't magic. They're mirrors. Moonstone calms your nervous system and reminds you that softness is a form of strength. Lapis lazuli reconnects you to truth and clear communication, not just with others, but with yourself. And above all, know this: when the energy meets the right person, it's not about them saving you. It's about them activating what's already been waiting in you all along. So don't be surprised if this week feels tender or confronting. That's just the sound of your soul stretching, tuning, preparing to sing again. And when it does, it won't be background noisy, it'll be the main melody. Finally, not everyone who enters your life is meant to stay, but some are sent to shake you awake, and that's exactly what these two women represent. They are not here to rescue you, fix you, or tell you who you should become. They are mirrors and messengers. One will wrap you in warmth you forgot you deserved. The other will challenge the parts of you that keep playing small. And together, they aren't asking you to become someone else. They're here to bring you back to yourself. This journey, Leo, is not about being perfect. It's about being present. It's about choosing light, even when the familiar darkness feels more comfortable. Choosing growth, even when it's inconvenient. You don't need to have all the answers to take the next step, you just need a willing heart. The truth is, the awakening you're stepping into doesn't require you to be ready in the way you've always thought. It simply asks, are you open? When you say yes to that question honestly, vulnerably, you step into alignment with something greater than timing or control. You begin to trust that your path is unfolding not in spite of what you've gone through, but because of it. That maybe your breakdown wasn't failure at all, but preparation. That the hard conversations, the quiet nights, the moments of feeling lost, they were all part of the clearing. The softening. The grounding. So that when this awakening found you, you'd be able to recognize it. Now is the time to speak life back into yourself. Say this with me, out loud if you can, or whisper it quietly into your own chest. Open my heart to the light. I listen to my inner voice. I trust the guidance being placed on my path. Those aren't just words, they are keys. They unlock the door to self-responsibility and freedom. They anchor you in a space where you stop waiting for signs and start becoming one. Where you stop seeking external validation and start reclaiming your own intuitive knowing. You see, when you choose to see these women not as interruptions but initiations, everything changes. They become the thresholds to deeper understanding. The illuminator reveals the light you forgot you carried. The mirror reflects where your boundaries still need reinforcement. Together, they awaken your fire, and what you do with that fire is up to you. So here's the real question, the one I want you to sit with. Who is playing that role in your life right now? Who has gently reminded you of your worth without trying to change you? Who has challenged you to speak up, to set limits, to say, this is who I am, and this is what I need? Maybe it's someone you've just met. Maybe it's someone you've been resisting. Or maybe it's a part of yourself you're finally starting to listen to. Write it down. Name it. Say it. Because when you speak it into the open, the energy starts to move. You begin to integrate, instead of just intellectualize. You begin to live differently. And if no one comes to mind yet, that's okay too. Sometimes the call comes before the form. Stay aware. Pay attention. This energy has a way of finding you the moment you say yes. Because in the end, this is not about them. It's about you. Your light. Your choice. Your return. And this moment? It's just the beginning. What if this message wasn't meant to predict your future, but to remind you of your power to shape it? You didn't arrive at this video by accident. Somewhere within you, a quiet part was ready to remember what it had forgotten, that you've always had a choice. A voice. A light. These two women, the illuminator and the mirror, were never about destiny written in stone. They were about helping you return to your own authority, to see clearly where you've been, and most importantly, where you're ready to go next. The truth is, life doesn't change because you hear something powerful. It changes when you respond to what you hear, when you move, even one step, in the direction of who you're becoming. So I want you to take everything we explored today and let it settle, not just in your mind, but in your body. What part of you felt seen? What part of you felt challenged? Who came to mind? And more than anything, what will you do differently because of it? Transformation doesn't always look like lightning. Sometimes it's choosing not to reply to that message. Saying no to something that used to make you feel needed but never fulfilled. Reaching out to someone who makes you feel safe being real. Sitting in silence and finally asking yourself, what do I want now? I'm not here to give you answers. I'm here to remind you that you already have access to them. This space, eternal mindfulness, exists not to tell you what's coming, but to help you trust who you're becoming. And if this video stirred something in you, no matter how small, honor that. Nurture it. Let it grow. You don't need to know the full path to take the next step. You just need to say yes to the part of you that's ready. So here's what I invite you to do. In the comments below, write the words, I'm ready to receive her. Not for me. For you. Let it be a marker of this moment in your time, millennia moment you chose openness, courage, and inner truth. And if this message spoke to you, I ask from the heart, please like this video, subscribe to Eternal Mindfulness, and share it with someone you care about. Because every act of engagement is also an act of energy. And trust me, when we share light, it multiplies. I want to end by simply saying thank you. Thank you for listening, for showing up, and for being willing to meet yourself at this deeper level. Your presence here means more than you know. And if you feel moved to support this work further, consider sending a super chat as a way of anchoring your gratitude and helping this message reach others who may need it just as much. So, Leo, tell me, what brought you here today? What part of this message felt like it was written just for you? I'm listening, and so is the universe.